going around campus, #disrupt. After all, it is about pushing boundaries, taking risks, and defying convention. Because we know that the best marketers are adventurous at heart.
3 days, so many events, take the most out of that, learning at the same time, fun, together. And I think this year Micanvas is really, the whole team has done a great job. So compliments to the team. And once again, a very warm
experience is completely opposite of disruption, because when the gauge catches on, you start to kind of get less disruptive. And I think your session or your whole theme is about disruptive innovation. But in the last 15 years, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, tried to be a lot disruptive. Whatever opportunities were available at that point of time, this magic created. Today, they are one of the largest reach vehicles in India on digital media. There's no story in the media today across hundreds of years who have grown so well like a Scoop has done, right? And again, this is disruptive. There is some copy paste here. We are copying BuzzFeed in some way, but it is Indianized. There is so what I want, and I'm a very small fry in this whole disruption that is happening today. There is disruption happening, bigger disruptions happening in Ubers, Olas, Oyo Rooms, and many others. There are entrepreneurs disrupting every day, right? I'm a very, very small fry. In fact, now I'm old enough to kind of disrupt. But what I'm trying to say is that this, and what I feel back is when you disrupt, when you do things differently than others, in a more positive manner, it is a lot more satisfied. It is a lot more satisfying. But possibly you need to be holding to that. Your partners, your co-founders, your family, your friends need to hold by your disruption and continue to give you faith.
So which is when looked at the mobile space. Fortunately, I was in a mobile company's venture arm and looked at the mobile space. I saw people doing recharges on Paytm and a lot of them doing it. That was a disruption because people to do recharges, you would go to the chai tapri or the mobile shop and get these small slips which you had to scratch and very slowly. I think this was a week back. I saw this post which said that Silicon Valley promised us inhabiting Mars and what we got was Facebook. So are we really doing really disruptive things? I think there is a lot more to do. It need not be social networking, it need not be e-commerce. We're thinking about e-commerce, we're thinking about providing taxis to people, we're thinking of enabling mobile payments to happen. But there are better things to do like eliminating poverty, giving energy, sustainable energy, reaching the Mars.
Looking at the whole subject of disruption, you actually understood how disruptive Coke actually was, okay? And that sort of taking a step back has probably made you realize, all those wonderful internal disruptive things that we don't know, yeah? That you guys have been doing, or the thought processes behind whatever. My question is to you, how does Coke manage this sense of, wanting to fail? And so it's like a buzzword also, but from when you were speaking, I did get that sense. It came across as you guys really do something different. So I just wanted to figure out what it was. Any more detail on that as to what you do? I understand you worked 15 years in Coke and all of that. So.
I'll actually answer that probably through an example that we went through. So sometime around 2004, we are a global company. We are in over 207. We are in 207 countries of the 209 countries that exist. But the point was, even after being this global company, everyone was doing something different in every country, and we were a mess, to say the least. Attrition was high, morale was low, the stock prices were going down. Wall Street was asking us what's happening next. Questions being raised. Are you going to stick to beverages? Are you going to get into more than beverages? Lots of questions being asked, because when your future is being questioned, that's not a good place to be for a company. And And it takes a lot of maturity for the leadership then to actually call the 150 top managers of the world and sit down in a room with post-its and actually be frank about what's not going right. And be honest and state it as it is. And that was the birth of something that we call internally Manifesto for Growth. And that is something that if it hadn't happened, I don't know how successful we'd been after 2004. And at times you really need to sit back and question everything you do. The day you stop questioning and start believing in your own myth, it's the end of the company and end of your future. And I think that's where Coke got into in 2004. We became so big that we believed that we can create the future and the future is here for us, but things are changing. And smaller startups are coming up even in beverages, and they're tapping into consumer opportunities and needs much faster than we can. Because an elephant takes time to turn. We're not that nimble and swift, and we can't do things as fast as others can. But you need to take stock at times, and that's what we did in 2004. That's when a lot of culture change really happened. And that got cascaded down to the 150 managers of India really sitting down and doing exactly the same thing. And it was not just the top 150, then we went down to every employee. And small things, like I'll give you, because it's also about the morale, right? So till then we didn't have paternity leave. We got paternity leave. Till then there were women who were working in our office that needed to go back home early. We had flexi hours. We had lots of other things that a normal, big, global, 129-year young company doesn't have, because there are lots of, like Manish was saying, as you get older, and that's true of even companies, you become a little more rigid. And it was time for us to actually go back to being a company that's a little more adaptable and is willing to make changes depending on what the world is today and what the employees need to be.
Yeah. So how does that work for you? In the sense that what's the process of dealing with people who are actually trying to actively disrupt things themselves? How do they react? How patient are they? What happens?
So while yes, entrepreneurs from probably far side look like very wacky people, very crazy people, but actually they're not. The root thing probably that all of them have, and probably Karthik would also have, is to build a huge business, okay? Something which has, which will be able to provide value not just to consumers, but he wants to also probably cherish, that we have built something, and that's why probably, and I'm sure Sushil starts Boring Brands, and Karthik starts Momo, and probably Abhishek starts, Paytm. That feeling is very blessed, okay? Now, the first thing which probably Boring Brands does when we meet an entrepreneur is, we decide whether we want to work with them or not, okay? We don't just start working with anybody, we spend some time researching on them, talking to them, meeting them, etc., because the chemistry match has to be very important. Like probably just now, partnerships are very important, right? We come and start working with, so there are stages of a startup, right? Let's say it's a bootstrap or angel or series A or series B or series C or series D or series G, whatever what Flipkart is today. We try to grab working with startups right when they're series A or probably bootstrapped, because that's the time when they're most willing to disrupt the market, because that's the time when they probably grow the most from series A to series C, okay? Boring Brands enters at that stage. For example, in Oil Room's case, right? We started working with them when they were series A, about 7 or 8 months back, and then they quickly went to the series C level. We got the brief to create TVC in 1 day. Okay, we cracked the television script for them in like 48 hours, and we were shooting that in like within 15 days. All the 3 TV ads were ready. Jai Hind, the film which probably went viral and because of which Ritesh Agrawal also got a lot of support in the system, etc., happened in just 1 hour with us, right? That happened because we understood what Ritesh as a person wants to be and what business he wants to build, and etc. like that. So that helps a lot.